What a beautiful song. You're very welcome today as I discuss this legendary song from 2004. What a time. House music was all over the shop, right? Not just in the clubs, but on daytime radio. This song went to number one for ages and for a very good reason. You can hear beautiful sample, great vocals, and nice production. It's Lola's theme by the Shapeshifters. Let's give it one more little listen just to take the edge off. What a tune, right? What a great tune. And by none other than the Shapeshifters. So, let's get into who the Shapeshifters were. They were a duo, right? Consisting of Simon Marlin, London geezer, and Max Reich, Swedish geezer. And they combined, right? Well, they didn't combine like substance style, like they didn't become one, like Faithless. They joined forces and started making tunes, and this was actually their first song they released. Talk about starting on a high note. Fair play to the boys, right? Imagine that being the first single you put out. Legendary stuff. But unfortunately, they were kind of a victim of the old one-hit wonderism, which plagued a lot of house people at the time. You know, I talked about Groove Jet. I talked about Mojo's another one. There was Michael Gray had a tune the same year, as well as, what was the other one-hit one? Make love to the music. All of these, right? The nature of the era, the kind of not quite digital, not quite physical, the era of house and singles, there just was a lot of them, right? It's not a bad thing. If you have this, you have a legacy. Fair play to Shapeshifters. Great stuff. And obviously they went on to be big club DJs. Nowadays it's just Simon. I think Max dipped out. But yeah, great stuff and a legendary track. Fair play. But let's get into the sample. And the sample also explains the name of the song. So let's talk about that, right? Lola's theme. Who was Lola? Simon's missus, right? His girl. One night, they were out in London partying. They stopped off for kebab, allegedly, and they went back to Lola's gaff. And Lola was putting on some of her record collection like many London people do at the afters. And she grabbed this track and said, "Oh, you gotta know this one. This is a great track." And she put it on and it sounded a little something like this. Simon was like, "Okay." What about my love? So you got Lola putting on the record, Simon saying "whoa," and Johnny Taylor swooning over the track, right? Johnny Taylor, a legendary blues singer primarily, but did some gospel, disco, funk. He also dabbled and dived in a lot of different eras of overall kind of soul or blues music. And this was from one of his albums in the 1980s, right? Early 1980s. So Lola put that on. Simon was like, "Whoa, sorry no, but I gotta call up my buddy Max because we were thinking of putting out a track. I think this might be it. This might be the sample." So he called up Max and was like, "Max, the studio tomorrow, 9 o'clock. You better be there or else. And hung up, allegedly. No, I'm embezzling the story a bit, but he was excited and he got Max in. They went in the next day and they sampled that beautiful orchestral arrangement from the beginning of the track to create Lola's theme, named after Lola, who picked the record. So why don't we do the same? Right? Why don't we? Let's do it. Let's do it. We have a sampler. We are joined here today by none other than one of the legends, the Simon to my Max, the Garfunkel to my Simon, the Barbara to my Streisand, Mr. Bossman, aka the Doctor. Don't say Mr., say Doctor, right? Dr. Sample. Hello, Dr. Sample.
Hello.
What are you ready to sample today? What would you like to sample?
Everything.
Well, come on now, we can't sample everything. How about we sample Johnny Taylor like the way Shapeshifters did?
Hello.
Nice. So the first thing we're going to do is record in that loop, right? So let's go back to the beginning. Let's get this ready. Now, you're probably wondering, why didn't you just hit it at the beginning and end the loop like you used to do back in the day? Well, what I've learned is sometimes I need a bit of wiggle room. And as fun as it is to sample right in, I like the wiggle room. So I left the wiggle room there, right? Room to wiggle. For those people who love the one strike, I'm going to try it again, one strike way, all right? So number 2 has the wiggle. Let's do it one strike way for all you requesters. I messed up. Sorry, I didn't hit it correctly, but what I can do. So, okay, I was able to loop it and press it and not wiggle, so I got some of it right. Okay, don't doubt me. I got skills. So that's what they did. They looped that and then they sped it up, because I talked about disco and house many times. They're a bit like crabs and lobsters, right? Similar tempo, similar vibe. You can easily loop and land. This soul tune's more like crabs and snails. Similar, but you gotta speed up snails a bit more to be with crabs, is my analogy, and I'm sticking to it. So let's speed this up. Happy with that. And that's what they have as the loop, right? And what they always do then is they filter. That was the style at the time, filtered samples like we've seen before. Now, so that's the main bit. There's another bit that they put in, which was the that they did that, didn't they? They were doing that the whole time. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. So between that and they had their strings, orchestra, horns, whatever. They had Johnny's backing orchestra looped and ready to go. So they were very happy with that. And they obviously threw some lovely drums under it as well. Which, you know what? Before I get in, why don't we take drums? And what we'll do is see if there is an extended mix. There must be. I checked this. Yeah. So let me clear a couple of ones here and let's get in. So an extended mix, right? Especially with house music or, you know, trance or any of these. You got the radio mix, which is what you hear. You have the extended mix, which starts off with the drums. And the reason they exist is to mix, right? So if you're doing a house mix, you want to fade out the drums from one and fade in the other, so you have lots of room to play with, lots of wiggle room, you might say. So that allows you to mix in nicely. But I'm just going to take the drums here. When another bit comes in. Let's see if I loop that okay. So now sorry, I'm trying to compress this and it ain't working. Get it. You get what they did. They put drums under it. Let's not go into it anymore. Let's talk about the vocals, right? The vocals of this song were sang wonderfully by another gospel background singer, similar to Johnny, who went by the name of Cookie, right? Cookie was a London-based singer, also known as Janet Ramis maybe, and they got her in to sing the vocals, right? So you might say that's the end of the episode. Thanks everybody. But wait, whoa, back the truck up. There's another sample, right? What I did was, in Japan they call it Sampleru o Sagasu, and it means sample searching. I did sample searching, right? And I found out that originally the vocal was a sample, right? Taken from Anthony White, Love Me Tonight. Or was it? Let's find out, right? Anthony White. It's in my playlist here. I'll go back into my big old playlist. Love Me Tonight. Take a listen to this and tell me what you think, right? Another banging house tune, first of all. we hear all the components there. And I was like, alright Anthony, I see what you're doing here, but I see that you've also sampled. So now I've come back a double whammy jammy, and I've noticed that Anthony White sampled a song by Imari. So looking up Imari, I don't find much information about them online. But I do find out that they have a song called Love Me Tonight as well. So I'm like, alright, you know what I'll do? I'll put on the club mix of that and I'll listen to Imari, Love Me Straight, and here we go. And I'm like, that's not the same sample. So then I'm like, did Anthony White re-record it? But it's the same vocalist. What's going on? And it comes in a bit later. Again, I tried to find it again later. This was all my Sampleruを探す onegaishimasu. And I found it again. Listen to this bit. So Imari's doing some funky stuff and I'm like, what's going on? Then I realise Love Me Tonight is the A side and Imari has a B side as well with a different song called Let Me Love You. No, Let Me Love You is a bit more early R&B, hip hop kind of this style, which I gotta say I love. And this is where she sings similar lyrics, similar interpretation of that song with the way Anthony White sampled and the way Shapeshifters originally sampled. So we're getting deep here into the Sampleruを探す. But listen to this. So there we go, that's the OG. Imari, Let Me Love You. And this B-side had this with an a cappella, which is another version of a song you put out, which is just the vocals, right? So just like I showed that extended mix, some producers also put out the a cappella or the instrumental. They're great tools to have as a DJ because you can make a mashup, you can mix. It's like having some of the stems. Please do it more. Give us the stems. We want stems, right? They're great. We want acapellas. But anyway, the acapella of Imari, Let Me Love You is what was used by Anthony White and by Shapeshifters originally. So let's record it in ourselves here.
Let me love you now or never. Let me hold you forever. Let me love you now or never. Let me hold you forever. I'm a different person, yeah, since you came into my life. You turned my world around. I was feeling ups and down.
Right, so now we have that phrase from Let Me Love You, the a cappella, which goes along with the strings to make the original white label demo of Lola's theme. So let's chop this up, and first we need to resample.
I'm a different person, yeah, since you came into my life. You turned was feeling ups and down.
One other fun fact I forgot to mention that I have to show here was I heard that singing and I was like, that melody sounds so familiar, and then it hit me. It was Dark Monk's Insane, the Steve Morano mix. Now this is more like a hard house kind of post Euro dance kind of sound, like I did in a couple of videos ago. And it already samples Twin Peaks, which was sampled by Moby in Go, who I talked about in another video. All these videos are colliding, but listen to how she sings here. It's the same.
I'm a different person, yeah, since you came into my life. You turn.
Just wanted to show you that other little fun fact in there. But look, I'm digressing. I'm going down wormholes. Let's get our chops in and finish this up.
I'm a different person, yeah, since you came into my life. You turn my world around.
Now, why didn't I start with turn? Because it's a bit different.
Turn my world around.
It just is.
I'm a different person, yeah. Turn my world around. I'm a different person, yeah. Turn my world around.
We need to adjust the tempo of those two because they are not quite my tempo. So that's what the filter.
Turn my world around. I'm a different person, yeah. I'm a different
Remember that? Anyway, that's it, folks. Obviously, they put a lot of production behind it rather than that, but that's what you show. Shout out to Cookie, right? She really gave that song soul, and her vocals brought it alive and what people reflected in. She wrote a lovely song based around that sample of Amari. She went on to feature in other songs. She's a great singer. I went down a bit of YouTube and saw her singing with Nick Cave on the song Henry Lee, I think it's called, that he originally sang with his ex PJ Harvey, and she's singing it. So if you saw Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds recently, you might have seen Cookie, aka Janet, who sang Shapeshifters. That's it, folks. Another episode in the bag, another house one for all of you. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Mind yourself and stay safe.